This is the Horse Radio Network. This is episode 157 of Horse Tip Daily, a different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. This tip is sponsored by Equestrian Collections for the entire universe of equestrian shopping at your fingertips at a price you can afford. Enjoy today's tip. Well, I'm Glenn the Geek from Lexington, Kentucky, back with you on Horse Tip Daily. Today we welcome back Dr. Jenn to the show. Dr. Jenn focuses on the rider and the mental health of the rider and the horse. She's done a number of tips with us now on Horse Tip Daily, and you can listen to them all just by going to horsetipdaily.com. And on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see a drop-down menu where you can choose an expert. Choose Dr. Jenn, and you'll find all her tips lined up there in a row, and you can just take a listen to all of them at once if you'd like. Dr. Jenn has also trained with several Olympic-level event riders throughout her career, and she is now the owner of the Happily Ever After Ranch in Colorado. It's a beautiful place. We'll get to Dr. Jenn in 1 second, right after we remind you that Equestrian Collections now carries a lot of different Western items for the Western rider, from Ariat Western clothing to Wrangler, and a number of other items you'll find right there on their website at equestriancollections.com. One of the cool things they have on their website that I haven't spoken about lately is their e-catalogs. Just go to equestriancollections.com, and at the top links there, click on e-catalogs, and you'll see a number of catalogs that you can just open up and electronically flip through and go buy the products right off the pages in the catalog. It's pretty cool how that new technology works, and they have a bunch of them. You'll find over 30 e-catalogs right there at equestriancollections.com. It's like shopping at home, sitting on your couch, but on your computer screen. So, and the other thing that's pretty cool is when you buy stuff out of one of those catalogs, you can get a discount by using the coupon code Horse Radio at checkout, all one word, Horse Radio, and you'll get $10 off your next order of $120 or more at equestriancollections.com. Okay, let's say hello to Dr. Jenn. Well, hi, Dr. Jenn, and welcome back to Horse Tip Daily.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Glenn.
You know, we spend a lot of time together now. I feel like we're good friends.
We are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I mean, fun together.
Yeah, we do. We'd like to chat and talk and get in depth, and you like to make me embarrassed and all of that.
What more fun could we have, really?
Yeah, that's right. And you were responsible for helping me come up. I always used to say, what are we talking about today? And now I say, how can we help a horse person today?
Yeah, so that's fabulous. I love that because that's what we're really doing here, helping people have more fun with their horses and get more out of their time at the barn. And that's what I want to talk about today is a way to get the most out of your time with your horse, and I call it visioning.
Okay.
Which is setting a positive intent. And I don't know about you, but most of the time as we're flailing around in our lives, we forget to set a positive intent for the interaction, whatever that interaction is, right? So if we haven't set a positive one, what tends to happen?
It becomes negative?
Either it becomes negative or the other person's intent takes over.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Right? Either way, it depends.
Yep.
And what's going to happen with your horse if you haven't set some positive intent?
Yeah, that can turn negative. Or
right, without an intent, your horse runs the show, or with a negative intent, well, we know what happens then because we've seen that all too often. And in real life, we're really about connecting the skills we're learning with our horses with the rest of our lives. In real life, the same thing happens. If you don't set a positive intent, then other people's agendas take over, and you end up saying something yes, that you meant to say no to, or people end up walking all over you because you just haven't set any intent at all. So we're going to talk today about setting a positive vision for the time you have with your horse. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have something, say, for instance, that you'd like to have happen with your horse? Say the next time you go out?
Him not run me into a ditch, because I drive.
Uh-huh.
So that would be the one positive intent that I always have every time. I did have, I have that, I had a Hackney once, and talk about a horse with issues because, we won't get into the whole how he was trained. But he used to like to back me into ditches occasionally, and that's where I got the ditch phobia from. So...
Oh, I could definitely see why that's a top on your list. And so if that were your positive vision, then when you're with your horse, before you get started, what I would have you do is to stand facing him to the side a little and take a big deep breath and relax into that calm space that we've talked about, and just to declare your intention out loud, or, in your head if there are other people around. So, maybe your intention would be, how would you positively say no? We don't want to say anything negative, which would be, don't take me into the ditch.
Right.
We want to use positive words. So how would you put that into the positive?
Oh, that's a good question. When you're trying to stay out of the ditch,
maybe something like, we're staying clearly on the path.
Yeah, clearly on the path, and we're moving forward today.
We're moving forward clearly on the path. So you would just sort of state that with some power, not kind of weenie like either, like you don't believe it's going to happen, like really say it like you mean it, like we are staying directly on this path and moving forward today. And then I want you to close your eyes and I want you to see it. Just take 30 seconds or even 15 seconds and see what you want your horse to do, because horses, like all other animals, think in pictures. And they may not always understand our words, but if we send them a clear picture, they're pretty apt to pick up on it. So just take a moment to set the intention out loud and then to see it happening. And see it in detail, see exactly what it looks like down that path, hear it, smell it. Maybe there's some nice tree smells. Feel it, feel the wind in your hair. Take all of your senses and take just 30 seconds and see that happen. And I bet if you practice this next time at the barn, when you do this and you do it clearly, your horse will almost always give you a sign that they actually heard you. So I want you to look for them to give you a sign, which is sometimes it's just a licking and a chewing. They kind of just lick and chew, or they'll yawn. But a lot of times you'll find they give you a sign. And when you start getting that sign, you'll start realizing that you really are communicating with your horse. It's not just you talking to yourself. So you can also do this a little more generally to set up an intention for your entire ride, right? So rather than saying we're going to do a perfect 10-meter circle today, it's more about how you're going to be together.
This is interesting. So we discussed it last time, how many of the top athletes and top riders in the world visualize their course, their test, their whatever. And what you're doing is actually adding an element to that, in that you're visualizing it with your horse.
Yes, because it's like it's your team. You have a partner, and if it's only you that's got the game plan in mind, then you've only got half the team on board, right? And we tend to think that it doesn't matter to get the horse on board because he can't understand us. But I would like people to stretch their thinking on that and just play with this and see if they can tell that it makes a difference. And one step beyond that is to just, they're looking at how we're going to do something together. And then I suggest also, why don't you take a moment to think how you want to be together? And I do this every time before I get on any horse. I call it a blessing. You can call it whatever you want, but I stand right beside his head, and I close my eyes. And I'll share the blessing with you. It only takes a second if you'd like to hear it.
Sure.
So this is more about how we're going to be together rather than what we're going to do together. So I close my eyes, and I just say, I ask for our best selves to be with us for this ride. Please help us think and act as one so we can become a beautiful team and best friends. Help us communicate clearly and easily so we can have fun and enjoy each other. Help me ride in alignment so my horse can carry me correctly with grace and charm. And above all, ensure our protection and deliver us safely home from this ride. And so it is. It's like the blessing you say before dinner, right?
Right, yeah.
And I tell you, if you do this every day, what it does is it gets you in that calm, centered self-hypnosis place that you talked about.
Right.
And your horse goes there with you. If you do this every time, your horse drops into the space with you, and it's like he's like in La La Land. I watch it every time. And it's like you're both getting on the same page. And I have to tell you that since I've started doing this, I can count on one hand the number of not-so-great rides I've had. So I'm declaring some tension to the universe, and it works because I almost always have a great ride now.
Well, that's great. I'll tell you what I'll do is we'll transpose that and put it in the show notes. So we'll actually have those words in the show notes. So if somebody wants to use those exact words, they can.
That's awesome. I really encourage people to come up with the words that feel good to them, but this is just a starting point.
But give them a good starting point, though.
Yeah, exactly. And why not bless our ride? We bless a lot of things. Why not bless our ride? And I really encourage people to try that and see how it shifts their interaction with their horse.
Great. And then they can find more of your words at
happilyeverafterranch.com.
All right, Dr. Jenn. Well, we appreciate you being here again today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
I can't wait to see you again next time, Glenn.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Jenn. Well, thanks again to Dr. Jenn. She spent a while with us also on the Stable Scoop radio show on our annual Valentine episode, and that was at stablescoop.com, episode number 78. So if you'd like to hear more of Dr. Jenn, you can hear it over there at stablescoop.com. Well, this week on Stable Scoop, we did the best of the equine web, and you'll also find that over at stablescoop.com. We had 4 or 5 guests on talking about some great iPhone applications, some great Facebook fan pages, a cool blog that you need to check out, just some really cool equine web stuff. And I appreciate you checking that out with my partner, Helena B. It was a lot of fun. We'll be back again on Monday with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody, and have a safe ride.